Welcome everyone to another observability clinic. Today's topic, Dynatrace Metric Events, setting up anomaly detection based on your business. I'm really happy to be here back in the office, as you can see, sitting here with
David
Bruendl. Yeah. David, what are you doing at Dynatrace?
Yes, hello to everyone. My name is David. I'm a product manager for Dynatrace, especially capability Davis AI, especially focused topic on anomaly detection. So we create an anomaly detector that automatically analyze abnormal behavior and situation from your IT infrastructure and then identify the impact and root cause. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's a core part of Dynatrace Davis, right? Yes. Detecting anomalies and then going through the smartscape, all of the data we have in context to then really learn on root cause. Really cool. So there's the topic of Dynatrace Metric Events is something where there's an update coming in Dynatrace in 253.
Yes.
And I wanted to make sure that I get you on my clinic and I want to learn from you.
Great.
So let's get started.
Let's start.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next slide. So what we will learn today. So I would like to start with the first sentence that makes more, brings us further to understand what we build and why we build that. And so it's the Dynatrace Davis covers many observability use cases out of the box, but needs the flexibility to adapt the domain-specific requirements from our customers. So we have a lot of great customers on different business sector areas like, insurance, banking, IoT, retail, and so on. And then, of course, they have some domain-specific use cases. And there are use cases like, for example, I put some up here, so custom data streams. So customers want to use, with extension, their own data and use the power of Davis AI. Or you want to modify the time series data, maybe some sparsity here to make it more smooth with roll-ups and so on, the power of expressions. Of course, also to optimizing your operation, your R3 team to avoid noises and false alarms. So that's also very important to have that the opportunity to optimize that. And then we have dynamic time series data, which you cannot use, like I would say, with a static threshold to tackle that, like seasonal behavior and so on. Or you want also customized monitoring for a specific area, that like, for example, in our use cases on management zones. So like management zones should have these configurations. So it's very important that we have that capability for flexibility in our platform. So that's why we built up and updated the metric events. So it's, as you said, is we will update from the customer alerting for events. That will be updated by the new name metric events with the new UI.
Cool. Yeah, what I like here a lot is what you said in the very beginning. It's the flexibility to adapt to domain-specific requirements, because out of the box, we have a lot of knowledge about infrastructure monitoring, application monitoring. So we have some rules in our engine, but we don't know every environment. Then giving our customers the flexibility to say, I know exactly certain metrics and I want to have this particular static baseline or an auto baseline. Right? I mean, that's really important that we and make this easily available to our customers, either through the UI, and I assume everything that you show us today can also be configured through the API.
Yes, right. That's true.
Perfect. Yeah. That means everything follows the configuration as code approach. So that means, folks, if you are onboarding a new service, a new app, and you have some new metrics that you want to have a specific alert set on it, then you can also do this everything through configuration. Awesome.
Yeah. So I also make 3 steps what we learned today. So there's a more recap how does anomaly detection in Dynatrace work. Then we go through the monitoring strategies which is available to configure, and then then how to set up anomaly detection based on your business. So there's, as we said, on release 253 could be a new metric events feature, and yeah, it's really awesome. As a product manager, I have the honor to present it. So it's very, the team make a lot of effort and work to make that happen, and also a great community with the feedback and our customers. So we all shape together this to make this a product. So very nice. So let's go to the first one. So how does anomaly detection work? And I would like to explain it that we have 2 detectors anomaly detectors and where they're located. That make more understandable for us to why we're facing sometimes limitations, where I can use metric expression, and so on. So it's very important to have and to understand these two detectors. And our first one is our detector that's using the incoming row data, which is defined as the metric key. And here you use, you define a pre-defined static threshold, and that monitors all dimension that's coming in. So there are big advantages on that to have no limitations on dimensions. So it's one config you are available to monitor, like, for example, 20,000 CPUs usage. So it's very powerful. And yes, but without the metric expression, so without space aggregation, rollup, and so on. And if you like to use that, as we know also in the metric selector, there's a second detector, then you have the power of that, because we have to read the data from the systems, also for the monitoring strategies like seasonal baseline, adaptive baseline, we have to read historical data and so on. So that's the point. We're facing some limitations on that for safety reason in the cluster. But yeah, so there are the two detectors that we have. So one is upfront, simple static threshold, but the power of no limitations. And the second is direct in the system and fetch the data for that. So the next step is the query must evaluate one or multiple series. So on both, you have the possibility to filter, to split it up on that, on dimensions and so on. And of course, the metric selector, as I said, metric expressions, you have more possibility. On top of that, you choose the monitoring strategy. So as I said, we have static, adaptive, threshold, and seasonal baseline. They evaluate the data is coming in, and if an evaluation is here, then it raises an event. Cool. Yeah. So that's quick and simple how anomaly detection works in Dynatrace on our metric events.
Perfect. And maybe one last word for metric selectors, folks. If you're new to this, we also have additional or existing material on metric expressions and metric selector. So there's already videos out there, and there will be a new one coming up actually soon about advanced metric expressions, where Philip, one of our colleagues, is going to explain a little more. But awesome, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So let's go directly to the monitoring strategies what we have. Let's start with the first one. It's a static threshold. So it represents a hard limit the metric should not violate. So especially on metrics that you're really aware of that of yours from your system, like saturation metrics, CPU usage, memory, and so on, where you want, okay, I won't get alert of like 90% of that. So on monitoring strategy, you choose the type static threshold. And if you don't know, okay, what kind of threshold should use, that's a very nice feature that you click on the button, use such as a threshold.
That's nice.
And then you get a proposal from David, what comes up from the last 7 days, get the information statistically. Cool. And and then the second picture down here, you see it on the alert preview, you see it directly, okay, how does it look like?
So that means you can also play around with it a little bit. But I really like the suggested threshold, because I work and talk with a lot of users, and they say, hey, why do I need to come up with a number? You already have my historical data. Why can't you just suggest something? And that's what we have here. Yeah, so if it's fit for you, then it's fine. And we'll say, oh, we close, but we want to make more space on that to like, now I have 79.4 and I want to 85 like that, to have more space on that. And the next one is our adaptive threshold. And that represents a dynamic approach, reference value for detecting anomalies change over time. So like you have metrics that's week by week, it's changing, it's going to rise up, and you don't want to manually update the static threshold and so on. So it's learning from behavior from the last 7 days here. And so that's the power of that. And that's, as I said, that's calculating the model the last 7 days on each dimension. So each disk
individually. And this calculation also performed once every day.
Okay, so that means once, that was my next question. Let's say once a day, we are recalculating the threshold based on the previous 7 days. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Perfect.
But we also understand again the static threshold. So it's not always like, okay, this is the advanced one, is more the clever one. So it's like also adaptive threshold is if something really slow comes up, then it was learned every time, but also the threshold comes up every time with both of that. And so you will never get alert. So we have to also aware of that a little bit. And, but the preview can help you to understand it more, what it does, and so on. And maybe some is confusing here when we see some spikes is above the threshold here, and we have only one red dot or one potential alert. So why is that? So the reason is that we have also intelligence behind. On default is called sliding window, and the sliding window helps you to avoid aggressively alert on single violations. So we don't want that every spike comes up and get an event for that. So it's too much for that. So we have defined, we call it sliding window, and this defines 3 to 5 to 5. So the 3 is 3 violation samples on 5 minute sliding window and de-alerting from 5 samples. So what does it mean? I have a sliding window of 5 minutes and violate here, or if a violation here, 3 samples, then it's raised in an event. And it's still so long open the event. If it's back to normal, it's a de-alerting 5 samples from default. If it's back again, then it's closed. So everything is will be then the same problem, but it's not always like every 3 minutes.
I think we had this capability already in the past, right? With sliding windows. It's also
and now you have the opportunity, I will show it later in demo, that you can configure yours by yourself.
That's nice.
So it's something like, as you said, David's always in a platform configured and so on. And now we give more the flexibility to the customer that you can adapt that and choose by as you want. So here, like the model type, you choose the adaptive threshold. Again, we're using historical data, so we are on the part of metric selector now. So we're facing some limitations we have to say here, and also have the possibility to alert on missing data. That means that it's an OR function with the violation samples I explained on the sliding window. So even it's a violated sample or as data was missing on that. And then we have the number of signal fluctuation. So what did that mean? I have some explanation of showcase on that. So without considering signal fluctuation, so I put it on number 0, and then we get here 99% quantile of that. So we get a lot of alerts here. So the signal fluctuation, so considering with that, is that the signal fluctuation is defined the quanta 75 minus quanta 25, and the result of that will be added to the 99 quantile. So we reduce that. And the tolerance, this is the number we have seen, 1, is the multiplicator. So I can duplicate it with 2 and 3 and so on to reach that. Then you see here the difference, 1 without and 1 with. Sorry.
Good.
And for the showcase, I changed the sliding window to like 1 to 5. So that's the hardly violations, we would say. The next one is the seasonal baseline. This is a new feature that was in place on, and I brought 2, for me personally, 2 great charts that shows the use case very well. Maybe some colleagues from the data science team will say why I choose this one, because you expect to see some analytics goes up and down the line chart. But the team did a really great effort, hard work to make this model very robust. As we see here, we have some missing data here, sparse here, and we also see it here. It's not really seasonality as expected, up and down. So it's we have here like 3 days, so we go to the 7 days, go to more sort of straight line more, and even that is very robust to identify a seasonal data. So they make a lot of the intelligence behind that. A great effort. So I'm really thankful for the team, data science team. And the showcase here is there's the same metric, and the one I choose the adaptive threshold here. And of course, we get an alert on every spike 8 o'clock a.m. here. So we can optimize you maybe with a sliding window, so more up or validation that you not get alert on that. But what is when you have a spike not at 8 o'clock in the morning, but 8 o'clock in PM, you will not get alert of that. Or you want to raise more the threshold for that. So that's a really good use case that is identified. It's a seasonal pattern here that every morning we have a spike here, and that's normal.
That's really nice. Thanks for the explanation as well, because I think this is a very common use case, especially when 8 o'clock in the morning, right? Yeah. People start logging onto their systems, and it's just normal, and the system just gets a little slower. You have more traffic.
Yes.
And it's not abnormal behavior. It's not abnormal traffic. It's not slower, just the way it is every Monday morning or every day at 8. And that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's very, very great. And even so now we have a beautiful season.
That's what you would normally expect, exactly.
Yeah, normally expect that. So it's the easy one. And of course, sometimes you don't, the metric, maybe some with infrastructure has a problem, you not get all the data, something the metric that fulfill the requirements for seasonal model, like the second chart we see here. So a lot of missing data, a lot of spikes here. We have a fallback that goes to the constant threshold. So even that is not monitoring nothing. So we have a fallback scenario. Okay, this model not fit, the data is not fit for the model, but okay, we make a constant threshold. It's like the adaptive one. Learn from the last 14 days for that, and define a threshold for today. It could be tomorrow again. So we recalculate it. So also here once a day, see it how it works. Yes. Cool. So they are the 3 monitoring strategies we have. And the next step is going directly to action to the demo.
Let's see how this works. Yeah.
Let's see. Perfect. What I promised. So let's go here. So we go directly here in the setting metric events. So you go to settings, you go to anomaly detection, then you will find the metric events then. So what we got here is that we have at the beginning an overview of the limits that something you have facing on the metric selector, like overall 100, the limit of 100 dimension, 100,000 dimensions, sorry. And also of each configuration, we have some limits, like you are only allowed to make 100 on each of that. So, but to get an overview of that, you can also get a warning when you're facing that. And you will get aware not something like not function anymore, you don't know why. So it's very good information for that. And below we have here the list of all the configuration you have, and you can also, as you like, because you will have tons of configuration with that, and you want to find something special, like I want to find the 811, for example, and just type it in, and then you quickly get the result of that. So we have more searchability for that. And also you have, I want to see all my disabled configuration, for example. So, and we also have a self-monitoring metric behind it that's also check if your configuration works very fine. So currently everything works fine. If not, we have between this here, also between the overview limits and the list, another information about which configuration have some issue with the configuration.
That's good, because sometimes configuration gets old, or like you forget to update something, maybe the metric selector doesn't produce any data anymore, the entities, the filter don't work anymore, and so you get an indication that something needs to have an update.
So we have 2 issues type that we currently have. The one is the shuttle, as you said, the infrastructure could change every time, it's going to increase, then you're facing the limits to the 1,000 dimensions. It doesn't mean that the configuration doesn't work anymore, but it gets throttled.
Yeah, okay,
So
okay.
it still works, but you get informed that. So, okay, we have make another strategy to split it up to management zones or something like that. And also checking also the query, if everything works fine. It could be sometimes has deleted the management zone or something.
Of course.
And then you not know about that. You get informed on that.
That's good.
That's very also good overview for a customer. So let's go directly to that disabled one. What does it look like? So you have the summary. It's the textual summary of the metric event. So like you can use like at the title for your config, or you put more information. What is it on which management zone and so on. So get a quick overview of that. And then we see here the query definition as I said already, the metric key, the metric selector. And now here we have chosen the metric key, and you choose the metric key, which one? For the showcase, we see CPU idle. And with the metric, you have the aggregation. On CPU idle, you have average, minimum, maximum. You have to choose here. And sometimes the use case also, the IT infrastructure is always changing every time. Something we get a lot of alerts and so on. We have also the possibility to show it then directly to the Data Explorer. So we have a great link to that and see, okay, what was the last yesterday, last 72 hours, what was the reason why this was the noise and like that. So it's a very good feature to have it here. And then, of course, you have also the possibility to filter by entity filter and dimension filter. And this is very nice because it's not only like, okay, we have your metric key, it's just library on up front and check the raw data, but you have also possibility to make more intelligent filter around on what you want like to do on that. So we have like, put in, for example, an entity filter, choose the name on it, then have some operator like, okay, it's intensive, and I want monitor all names that has easy inside. And then you see here
the matching entities. That's great. I mean, this is a feature that we have in different screens everywhere where you have to specify entity filters. We give a preview, like with the SLO screen, it's similar. So that's great. What's also nice, if you do me a favor, if you expand your name contains again, just the filter, I mean, you showed it by name, but the filter type is really cool because you really have, as you mentioned, management zone, tags. Tags are hugely powerful because you could say you're defining a rule, a metric rule, an events rule, where you say for all of the hosts where a particular tag is on it, I get a certain alert, right? You can say, you can then allow your infrastructure people to say, please take all of your hosts with, let's say, critical 1, critical 2, critical 3. And then maybe for these different tags, you have different rules, right? Different baselines specified. I mean, I think this is what I like about the power of tags, because tags allow you to control your configuration through metadata. That's true. That's really nice.
The customer also using that very heavily. We've seen that. Very nice. And then we have here, of course, as I said, it's only the static specialists are allowed on metric key. And then let's test David.
That's cool.
Directly we get information out of the proposal. And then you see here if this proposal just very fit for you and say, okay, cool. That's good. And there's also ways we changed another preview. The old configuration, we have only one alert preview that's always combined it. And we changed it by feedback that we able to choose each dimension and see directly how this fit. So sometimes it was really confusing a little bit because it was the average overall, and that's how you can chart that. And you also have more expansion on 7 days and to see that more that. And here, as you see, that's the configuration of the sliding window.
Exactly.
Just 3 to 5 to 5 on that. And And then we have here the event template. So we have some placeholder. Description was already available. Now we have also a title to placeholder. Just make a bracket and then you see.
That's nice. Yeah, you got everything there.
Yeah,
that's great. So this is then really in case I get an event because I am violating my metric, then this event gets generated that will then basically open up a problem ticket, for instance, depending on the event type there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you also here event types to choose. We add also some again the custom annotations on, but it's more has the behavior on event info. But you can choose it here. And also have a key value property.
That is nice because then this, I assume this can then be used for alerting profiles where you can say when problems come up, then you can use this for filtering in the alerting profiles, I guess, right?
I think yes, because this is just a key value on
the problem itself. Then perfect. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
So let's do that a bit for because I had a problem for things. Just make it alert. I would say.
Let's force something. Let's force a problem. Yeah.
So it's one. It's really like that. So optimize that, and we get alert.
Yeah.
So should do everything fine. So we have no warnings here.
Save changes. Yeah, cool.
Save changes. In the meantime, we create a new one.
We want to have it enabled too, right?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. It's for a test.
Yeah. Okay. Now if I pay attention.
100 points.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it's a great one with a metric selector. So you choose a metric selector, and then you get here the power of that. Yeah. And you also can just type as your is a good one. Let's take service. And you also get it autocomplete. So it's very, you're very familiar with the metric selector. Just type it and then you get it and then start, okay, I want to split it by TD entities. And that's all it. Yeah. Of course, you can check it here, also here again.
So an explorer.
Everything is here, look fine. Okay. Get all of that. And yeah, so then you see here you have the now available for adapters threshold and seasonal baseline.
That's cool, yeah.
And let's take the seasonal baseline. It's a more interesting one. And also have the alert condition. We have in the past always above and below, and also outside.
Outside makes a lot of sense because we are calculating a band.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Also we change it also and make it available for adapters threshold
okay.
now.
That's cool.
Outside. And then you see here a lot of dimension, and you just take one, and then you see here the seasonal.
That's awesome. Wow.
And the alert preview is very, very, very good for the customer because it helps you to understand what it does to configuration.
Yeah.
So often you just click and setting, and you say, okay, I hope as you understand the settings, it works. And now you have some direct feedback. Okay, based on that, what your configuration is.
Yeah.
That's
extremely important.
Yeah.
Getting visual feedback, it also gives you confidence that the configuration you have just done actually works. Now this is awesome.
Yeah, and it's often that you have to also optimize or you have to change your configuration, and then says, okay, this was it was not alert that much, and we want to, then it just increase
decrease the tolerance. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you see, okay.
This is what he explained earlier with the where we look at the P, the 25 and the 50th, and then I remember that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. It was more on the adapters threshold, but the seasonal is like the same. Yeah, like the same. With some, of course, some other machine learning intelligence. I asked my data science team, and they tried to explain it that and say, okay, something like that.
Cool.
Then there's
event templates.
So to type. Then also here add property key value. let's say T West.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and also on which dimension we have on the service. And that's it.
Cool.
So you have to
give it a good name.
give a good name.
This is service throughput alerting, I guess, because you did the request count, so that's the throughput. Service throughput within seasonal baselining.
Yeah, that's also very important to have that information up front. And then just checking if everything is not red here.
Yeah, it's all good. So you can save changes.
And yeah, then it's starting right now.
Cool.
As it is. And let's go back to the problems. I hope we get that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the one you did earlier.
Yeah, and then you see here, it was raised. A problem when it started. And then you see here and show details, as you mentioned, and a problem with the team East. This belongs to the team East.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's awesome.
And
that's all metadata. I think this is then what you could probably also use for your alerting profiles. As I said, you can then, for instance, connect this with your Slack, and then you send problems where Team East is involved to a particular Slack channel versus Team West, for instance.
Yeah, with API, if you get this document for that, you can use this. Yeah, so this is our new metric events. I would say.
And what I wanted to add as well, I think you showed it earlier. You glanced over it in the config. That means if Davis would detect a general problem in your environment, let's say, I don't know, system availability goes down, it would then automatically also correlate and causate those events. So it's not that you will get a lot of individual problems. If there's already a problem that Davis detects, let's say users are having a bad experience, AppTex goes down, system outage, then we would automatically correlate that, right?
Yes. Or you don't want to, then just say
you can do allow merchant. Okay, that's it. Yeah, that's perfect.
But on default, of course,
you want to use a lot of sense because that's our whole purpose, is right. We don't want to over alert you, but we want to give you all the events that belong to a problem.
Yes. Yeah, everything fine. And
awesome. Wow. Let me see if there's anything else. I think this is pretty much. Can you expand the advanced model properties again? I think this is with the sliding window, right? Where you are there with the mouse. Yeah, that's great. Now you said this is all 253. This is when it's going to hit Dynatrace, our customers, in release 253.
Yes.
This is when this will change. At the time of the recording, this is probably about 2 or 3 weeks out, maybe.
Yeah.
But folks, if you watch this already, get excited about it. It's really cool stuff. And yeah, I'm pretty sure there's more coming in the future, because there's always more coming.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And with this, I don't think I have any more questions, folks. If you're watching this and if you have questions, do me a favor. You can obviously find us easily on the Dynatrace community. Really leverage the community, community.dynatrace.com, and ask questions. You are probably also on the community.
Yes. We also will provide for a release LFQ feedback channel. Just after release, you have some question and so on, or you cannot find something like that, because the UI changed a little bit.
Yeah.
But based on that, to understand, okay, we have 2 detectors, metric key, metric selector, and then so it's just maybe hard 10 minutes, I would say, and after that, you will love that.
Yeah, cool.
Use that.
Awesome. Hey, with this, I say thank you so much.
I say thank you. It was a real pleasure as a presenter of the Observability Clinic. I was always more the watcher.
Well, but this is the way it works, right? At some point, you become a contributor to the whole
My
thing.
dream came true.
Yeah. Good. Again, thanks everyone. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.